Hey, Bjorn Strongndarm here. Welcome back to Martin Ace. Welcome back to the church. And Sooner the programmer has just shown up. So let's see what she's going to tell us off
Breaking
for.
into my radio computer, I see.
She glares at you as she holds down the off button for several seconds. The machine reboots. Yes, you are breaking in, but not into her radio computer. You're a master circuit bender.
I do apologize for the intrusion, madame. We are with the RCM, you see.
We're looking for a suspect in a murder investigation. We thought they might be hiding here.
No one's hiding here.
She barely looks up from the keyboard. You hear the machine whir back to life.
It's just me and my computer, and it has been this way for weeks. Now, please give me some room. I need 2 seconds to see that you haven't destroyed anything.
We should talk to her after she has rebooted the machine.
Fair. We'll do that. All right. Now, has that been 2 seconds?
What is it?
The woman is still hunched over the keyboard, gently illuminated by the purring machine. I didn't break anything, did I?
No, you just printed out my personal log and wasted some paper.
That does not look like a big loss to her. Hey, are you the lead programmer of Viral Untethered by any chance?
Yes. Or no, not anymore. That project is dead.
Oh, I see. She doesn't seem surprised to be recognized, rather sad. Something passes over her face before she straightens her back. Sorry, but who are you? What are you doing here?
I am Sona Lukanen Kilde, the former lead programmer of Fortress Accident and RSA radios. I have over 16 years of programming experience, and I'm proficient in both Vox and Orbis languages. If you're not here to hire me, I don't really know how can I help you.
Well, I could ask you questions. Did she say over 16 years of experience? She must have started programming when she was a teenager. Have you seen the Crab Man? No. But you know he's around. Yes. He's seen you. And? Okay. It's probably not a big deal then. No, you're right. I'm not. Her voice trails over as she bends over to tinker with the machine printer. Have you seen anyone suspicious? Say a woman named Ruby. What? No one suspicious around here. Why are there so many machines in this place? I brought them here. These are my machines. Please do not touch anything. Why do you need an antenna? I use the AR1 as my RIMS Perfect processing unit. RIM Perfect, that's your radio computer, right? Mm-hmm. And the antenna is its processing unit? Yes. She sighs. You really don't know anything about radio's computers, do you? She has stopped working now. Not really. Alright, well, all radio computers perform operations up on air. So in order to gain more processing power, you need to invest in a good antenna. Wait, what's on air? Out on the front, the unified front of radio waves, licensed and controlled by Lintel in the East Insulitic region. Is all around us, she waves her hand. That's what on air means. Like love. And the AR1, is it a good antenna? She stops to think, I guess it is. So far I've been quite satisfied with it. Martinez is an unstable region with bad coverage, and the operation has been surprisingly stable. But it's not the cheapest one on the market, so I wouldn't recommend it for your regular red tape operations. Fraser 1000 is a foolproof line for civilians. Anyway, she turns back to her terminal. You should do some research before you decide to buy anything. Ask around, compare the prices. There are many menus dedicated to that sort of thing. She liked telling you this, it calmed her nerves. What are you doing with your radio computer? I'm working. The machine seems almost alien with its pulsing core, the light casting her face in a strange shadow. Working on what? Could you... She closes her eyes. Could you just shh for a moment? Or get to the point, I really need to focus on something. It's not just rudeness. It's really hard to concentrate on whatever she needs to do, and you're not helping. Isn't your REAM Prefect radio computer made exclusively for the government to use? So you do know something about computers. She looks up, almost proud of you. You're right, Prefect is used mostly by the government, peeps. And you're working for the government? No, I don't. So why do you have it? She inhales sharply before answering in a single breath. Because I need something good for my investigation, and REAM Civic is widely agreed to be below all standards, so I had to upgrade. Besides, owning a REAM Perfect isn't such a big deal anymore. No, actually, it is kind of a big deal. You don't see REAM Perfects in every police department, for example. How'd you get your hands on it? I know a friend of a friend who used to freelance for the Coalition, she says nonchalantly, scratching her ear. I was actually aiming for the military-grade Ream Rational series, but couldn't find one. She pats her glowing machine. Prefect is mainly based on the same technology as Ream Civic, so it's kind of a rip-off, but it does have better compatibility with newer antenna models, so I won't complain. What about those bowls of water over there? They are connected to my Ream Prefect. Looks up, whatever you do, just please don't move them, okay? Thanks. Short and terse, there you have it. Whatever she's using them for, they're hers. Right? I'll try not to touch anything. Next question. Great. What are you doing in an abandoned church? You really like those questions, don't you? There's a hint of amusement in her tired eyes. You're occupying public space. I need to know what you're doing here. I am conducting a scientific research here. You can't throw me out, she says, ready to sound her ground. Well, what research? I'm looking for the location of a 2mm hole in the world. Wait, what? She's looking for a disruption in the radio waves. That's what her personal log said. The lieutenant raises his brow, but doesn't say anything. A hole in the world. What does that mean exactly? What does it mean? There's something frantic about her as she locks her gaze with you, eyes shining like pearls. Up to now, it has been impossible to say what it is, because it's impossible to measure nothing. What do you think it is? What qualities does nothing have? How do you measure something that does not exist? She's suddenly absorbed in the conversation, waiting for your answer. Easy, you measure it by the world around it. You measure it by collecting data on its surroundings, on that which exists. Exactly, she nods. Very true. That's what I've been aiming for, and that's why I have those basins. I've tried using hydrotransducers to record the silence, to find out where it begins. Ha, hydrotransducers. So that's what those water basins are. Devices for recording sound through water. But honestly, it's not progressing very well. She grows silent, staring at her circle of basins. It looks like some ancient ritual. But does it have anything to do with necroplasmic life forms, ghosts in everyday parlance? No, Inland Empire, I'm not up to that. Is the hole connected to the data loss in your journal? Yes, that's what led me here. She stares at the burnished antenna on a nearby table, but I suspect it might be something a bit more complicated than that. Do you have any idea where this hole might be located? Somewhere underneath those roof beams, I assume. She looks up, eyes trying to pierce the pitch-black heights above, but without much success. Only a faint crisscross of rafters can be made out from the dark, most of the tower disappearing into the shade. Strange things may flourish in the dark. Why there? There's this place at the back of the church, a place where all audible vibrations seem to cease. I have named it the Swallow, and the higher you go, the less you record. The Pillar of Silence? Are you sure it's not an architectural quirk? Maybe, but it's oddly close to the physical coordinates of the data loss that led me to this place. This is where the Crabman lives. I know. You don't think the Crabman might be somehow responsible here? No, I don't. You said the research isn't going well. Why not? Because it's just trial and error, trying to locate the Swallow, the exact point in space. I don't have a... She stops mid-sentence. You know what? It'd be really helpful if you could just stop talking and let me work. Well, that's all I wanted to know about the scary 2mm hole in the world, for now. Conclude. How do you... great. Her hands are a whirl on the keyboard. Thanks. How do you feel about hypnotic dance music? What? She squints her eyes. I hate it. I bet she hasn't even heard it. Okay, wow, that was quick. Why do you hate it? Maybe I'd have to be on drugs to get it, but to a sober mind it sounds like uninspired rug putting. No idea what it has to do with either dancing or music. Right. How do you feel about a club for hypnotic dance music? This is about those speed freaks in the tent, isn't it? She looks up, shaking her head. I've got some news for you. It's not a nightclub they want to build here. What do they want to build then? Take a guess, why don't you? I heard they're also planning on building a drug lab. Bingo. She snapped her fingers. That's exactly what they're up to. Wonderful, the lieutenant whispers, admiring the embellished pillars and the spectacular architecture in the church. Now this house of worship is also going to be a drug lab. Always something fascinating happening in the tents. Say nothing. So that's settled. Great. She supports her chin on her hand, visibly pleased. No nightclubs in the church then. Huh, I think I screwed up being able to do the nightclub in here. Alright, well, you can work in peace now. I never did investigate this big hole. In white, silver, and apricot fiance? I don't know how to say that. The young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad, a dark and radiant majesty. This is her, innocence Dolores Dei. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel. I mean, okay. You kneel and touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There you kneel among the snowdrifts, diffuse light falling on your hands from beyond the glass. Look up. Maybe I should have closed my eyes first. The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There was a sad smile on her lips and a glint in her green-blue eyes. Of what? Compassion? Remorse? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. You. It's compassion, it's remorse, it's mourning, or it is not possible to live. It's compassion. As that soft word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder. Do the same as you get up. Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass. This is Dolores Dei. The old woman in the village was right. He looks around. This must be the Dolorian Church of Humanity in Martinez, or the small Pinewood Church in some records. You knew of the place. It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. He lowers his voice. It was built not long after Revachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first-generation settlers. On the coast of an uninhabited archipelago where only animals has roamed before in the wild reeds. What else do you know? There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Less stepped sewers, they call them, the 7 Sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the Revolution, or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find the instigator here. Something else, perhaps. He looks at the machinery lying around. Respectful? Is the lieutenant a follower of Dolorianism? A pang of guilt? The lieutenant is leaving something out. Do you know why it was abandoned? I have a theory, yes. There's a pause, then he continues. There was a police raid a while back. I heard the place was shot to pieces. The old woman in the village was being tactful with us when she didn't mention it. She has more respect for the RCM than many around here. Well, who conducted the raid? Well, your station was involved, I hear, although I can't be sure. How come a lieutenant isn't sure? Is this confidential information? You're not sure? 3 precincts were involved in the raid, and people say Precinct 41 was one of them. I don't remember being here. I am pretty sure it was a clandestine operation. I don't know anything more about it, why it was conducted, or who participated. I try not to pry into extra-district matters. If I was here, I should find out what I was doing. Good luck. You will not get information on a confidential operation from your station secretary just by calling. If you really don't remember, it might be better to keep this one forgotten. It happened a while ago. It is unimportant to our business in Martinez now. How did I know this was the mother of humanism? Despite the damage you've done to yourself, a title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is her innocence, Dolores Dei. The innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state. Perhaps the most famous human being ever to have lived. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived a deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever, as it haunts all men. Why does it haunt her? What is an innocence? I've heard of the system. The highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the world spirit. So a ruler? More. An innocence is elected to office by the founding party, a precedent that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built to accommodate innocentric rule should it coincide with our time. An innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway, only accelerated, packed into decades instead of centuries. An innocence is a continuous, compressed event, a sacred human being. It is an honor and a glory to live when one is in office. Is one in office now? No, we are alone. Okay, when she rule? 300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this isola, the Insulidian, by explorers from the continent of Mundi. She is, among other things, the innocence of intersolitary travel and the connected world. What else do I know about her? Many things. You know, she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene la Navigateur, queen of Sorrents, modern-day Sur-le-Clef. Also, that she was gorgeous beyond beauty. Draped in ancient sadness, are you sure you want to remember this bit of historic trivia? Standing under her long, slender form like this, dwarfed. Yes, big bummer. Boring history. Gotta keep it light, man. Keep it moving. Get fucked up instead. Where is this coming from? The past. It's a silo of sadness, fermenting. You should keep away. Fuck this pain pretend. It's unhealthy. Okay, what no, you must know. What else? Well, was she smart? Terribly. Women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess sufficiently well to prove an interesting challenge to a man. A similar grasp in matters of philosophy, theology, and science was encouraged. She was, by all means, a kept woman. She made the most of her position in the antediluvian court, a court visited by the most prominent thinkers and artists of the day. In secret, she was becoming the era's preeminent philosopher of the state, a scalpel, a piercing gaze. She was an almost preternaturally magnetic and intelligent individual. To her contemporaries, she appeared out of time, a messenger from the future of the species. We all fell in love with her head over heels. Even before she was declared an innocence, her influence was tremendous. How come? It was on her advice that Irene la Navigateur sponsored a number of voyages into the Pale. A costly, often tragic endeavor, ultimately vindicated by the discovery of the new world, the piece of reality you're standing on. She was crowned 2 years after the first expedition returned, setting in motion what is widely considered the greatest era in history, the DeLorean era. Wow. Wow, indeed. When her innocence was declared, and the queen she had advised for years fell on her knees before her, she was so overcome with emotion that her lungs started glowing in her chest. Really? Bystanders reported golden filaments lighting the already sunlit chamber around her, clearly visible beneath her dress. That is why the lungs are the symbol of love for the cultures of the Real Belt. I want more. As did we all. The lands of Mesk in the Occident and even faraway Supramundi, although altogether 21 of the 40 mondial nations at the time, immediately accepted Innocentric rule even before her crowning. In a city called Adveshprashit, in Vesper Messina, her homeland. The name of the city means evening comes, but it happened on a winter's morning with the canals frozen and slush falling out of the sky. She was dressed in a white and pearl dress on an emptied-out plaza, with the crowd far away. Already her therers, the secret servicemen of the Innocents, were worried about an assassination attempt. She must have been beautiful. Oh yes, she looked like humanity's young mother, a perfect mother, insultingly beautiful. It was as if her face and shoulders and hands were covered in a soft down of underfeathers. You know this well, very well. Midwinter snow was beating the cobblestones around her. A small attaché of officials stood by her as her therers placed a white gold wreath on her head. The crowning was mostly witnessed by Secret Servicemen. Well, then what? One of the men in the Secret Service killed her, 22 years later. A young man who had come to suspect that Dolores Dei was not entirely human, but something else. What? Something that had walked in our midst, watching us stumble for hundreds, if not thousands of years, until it decided to interfere in the course of our history. We were supposed to come up with this ourselves, the man was reported to have screamed at the Innocents. Dolores Dei was shot in the chest with a fowling piece 8 times. The man, thought to be insane, said he had once touched her and her body had been unnaturally warm like a furnace, and that sometimes while on duty he observed her forgetting to breathe for over 10 minutes. This inhuman quality was witnessed by many others as well, glowing lungs and all. It is commonly attributed to mass hysteria and religious psychology. Was there something terrifying about her? Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory, or what remains of it, but terrifying, it's a simple word. She was bad for humanity, and you shouldn't have started thinking about her. No, there was something bad about her. I want to know. You already do. Although she is often considered to be the greatest human being to ever live, there was something ominous about Dolores Dei, constantly surrounded by her theriers. She was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the innocences. Some modern thinkers would consider her a war criminal for the campaign she waged against the Mesk state. And then there were the resettlement programs. What happened? The Mesk state tried to detach itself from innocentric rule. Parts of the world were experiencing whiplash from accelerating into secularism. Her mandatory education programs and mass resettlement of upstream Magrite were problematic as well. Dissenters were suppressed by a military force she called the Army of Humanity, suggesting those who fight against it are not part of humanity. She adored chess, yes, but also military war games. Dolores Dei often holds a tiny tin soldier between her index finger and thumb, in icons such as this. She was also blonde, the blondest woman you'd ever seen, with green eyes the color of the Pesantic Mar Interregnum. Little is known of her Marchi's husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role, which was to introduce Dolores Dei to court. In conclusion, yes, there is something lonely, paranoid, and even terrifying that people seldom mention, but feel when they think of her. This subtle terror is part of her iconography. Lieutenant Yefrefor, you've stood there for over 5 minutes. The lieutenant's calm voice echoes in the cold air of the church. What are you thinking of, if I may ask? She's somehow connected to the case. She's been dead for 300 years. I am almost 1,000% certain she isn't connected to the case. He takes off his glasses to clean them. None of this is, in fact. The church, the coast, this isn't a good place to get lost in. Kim, are you a follower of DeLoreanism? Yes, we all are. Her name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. The laws we enforce are DeLorean in origin. Stroke your chin first. Woman looks in silence, smiling enigmatically. I didn't think you were spiritual. It's not spiritual, it's constitutional. The DeLorean system does not demand faith, only accordance. All right, and can I reconstruct the cracked glass? Beautiful. A jigsaw of broken shards fall into place in front of you, a ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one, and a text, a leaf motif below them both. That is freaking impressive, Harry, that you were able to, from the shatters, figure out what was there. What shattered this mosaic? Unknown. Something during the raid the lieutenant mentioned, or just hooligans looking for something to break? Who is this older woman? The escutcheon. The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden Reichsapfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her Innocence Day advised. Above, she herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up the stairs to stand at her feet. Secret servicemen, theriers, stand in a row guarding her. It must have taken years to produce this work in all its dizzying detail. The motto, what does it say? Below both women, in luminous black letter, Après la vie, mort, après la mort, la vie de nouveau. My French cannot translate that, but maybe they'll translate it for me. And then along the left side, après le monde, le gris, après le gris, le monde de nouveau. After life, death. After death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This is the great life motif of humanism, a summary of the effect of the discovery of this isola, the Insulindian, on human thinking. A tremendous sea change akin to finding life after death. Could these words be the password that unlocks a filament memory? Yeah, they were, and we didn't have to do that. But Lieutenant, this used to say life after life, death. After death, life again, he nods. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This exaltation is common in DeLorean sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated into the RCM slogan. No more, however. Why? It was deemed subservient, to use a strongly moral interrelated motto. We were already suspected of bootlicking. The sentence was also seen as too feminine. It was a macho thing. Well, what's the RCM motto now? Justice, union, prudence, and force. I like the other one better. So do I. Step back. The mother of humanism towers above you, a wax painting on a cracked pane of glass. Nothing has changed in her expression. Hey, Her Innocence Dolores Dei liked little figurines, right? Liked holding little men between her fingers, remember? What? You have the headless fallen rider figurine. You should give it to her. Win her back. Wait, what? Win who back? I can't win her back. She's a long dead historical figure. Don't be so pessimistic. Love doesn't die that easily. This isn't funny. You have a bad feeling about this one. This is now a task of mine. So very, very, very nifty. Nifty and mysterious. This is surely what the figurines are for. I don't know if I'm going to do the task, but I do want to check. I think I lost... help the raver start a nightclub. Yeah, tell Andre about Suna's thoughts in the nightclub. Do I get... I have one skill point hanging out, and I got some new stuff that I don't care about right now a whole lot. Let's take just a quick minute to go back and talk to the bangers. Here in the rain now. Hold it. What's this? A school of fish huddle on the fence post, then scatter into the dark. Okay. So that happened. Alright, here's that music again. Let's chat to this guy.
Hi again. So, how are things going?
He looks excited. The tips of his hair are sharp and white. The bleach has consumed almost all the toothbrush on the mirror in front of him. About the church, I checked it out. And? It's up. What happened? I talked to the crab man. Oh man, who is he? What'd you think? It seemed to be okay, to be honest. Very spiritual. Really, huh? Interesting. What's he doing in the church? Just preaching and praying from the looks of it. No matter. The paranoid young man mumbles gruffly. Is it gonna be a problem? Yeah, Noid is right. Let's get back to the point. What are we gonna do about him? His guys will never catch him. You will never catch him. Nothing to do. As far as I can tell, he's not going to leave. Well, actually, he told me he wouldn't mind the nightclub at all. I don't know, man. Doesn't it feel like a major hindrance to you? He rubs his jaw. A spooky guy climbing around when all the guests are trying to have a nice, friendly, hyper time. You're just going to have to live with the crab man. I guess it's not a massive problem, now I can think of it. Everyone is welcome to dance to the morning light. Yeah! And maybe, I guess we'll figure something out. Okay, what about the other spooker? The one in the grandma's clothes. You see her? I was using the mainframe when Suna, the formerly programmer of Fortress Accident, appeared. A programmer? That's odd. What was she like? Just with a nightclub? She did not like the Anotic dance club idea. What a pity. It's my favorite thing in the world. He drops a hammer back in the toolbox, and she doesn't like it at all. A shame, he sighs. What can we do now? Do you see a way out of this jam? And into a laser-lit future of dance and unity? Unity dance? She made it very clear that she won't leave until her own project is finished. And you count us a victor? No, I won't a victor. We have to come up with a different solution. Look at you, Honor Man. Ha, we already dealt with Honor. No, Noid, he's right. Maybe we approach it the wrong way after all. I'm sure there's a workaround. We can make a deal not to bother her. If that's okay with her, we'll want to get in the church and spread the joy and ecstasy of music. The lines in the dark exist, coexist. Well, this crabman seems like an advanced being. He's hard, he'll understand. Yeah, he can do his climbing thing in the tower. The programmer, does she like anodic dance music? She absolutely does not. Really, truly despises it. Egghead cannot believe what you just said. It makes him pump the jam a little slower for the moment, but then he turns to his full swing of it. No worries, we'll figure it out. The man nods enthusiastically, then leans in and whispers. If coexisting fails, you can always muscle her out, right? It's okay with you, what do you think? Perhaps if you drop the drug lab, it might make it easier to convince her. He looks around the tent. Aw, man, but the drug lab was like an integral part of the getting the club going. For me, it's my favorite part. Chemistry's great. Besides, imagine all the drugs we could do if we had our own drug lab. I mean, music is great and all, but drugs, they make you feel really good. When do you last feel really, really good? Never. I've never felt good in my entire life. That's exactly what drugs are for. Exactly. Time to expand your mind. I refuse to throw her out, but I can try convincing her. He smiles wide like a replica of his friend with a large head. Excellent. Good luck, my friend. That's it for now. Goodbye, officer. All right, let's head outside and call it for the night. This is a good place to take a break. It's 5 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, we can try getting our, our gun back, which is a really big deal. But we have more searching for Ruby to do and more checking out potential kind of gun shop places that hasn't really been getting done. So I do want to get on that, but that will have to wait for next time. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.